Sure. We rolling?
Yep.
Yeah, man.
What up?
Next part. Sure. So welcome. This is the show, episode 12. Hanging out with Hotman is Galbona. You Hotman Terence Maduna. Please do like, subscribe, and share. We're going to discuss on to buyer, man. We're going to be chatting property, education, chatting around this. So, before I'm alongside LxrdMello.
What up?
Yeah, bro.
From the 6, that's it.
Easy. I'm not chase someone.
Just bring back.
Ne?
Yeah, no, the water.
I call you. Unity. What I want to part into detail before talking like topic in your own. Hey man, Moti Abula, what you wait a lot.
Hey man, hey, did you take part in the talk?
Bling my tone.
Like none about to the Spanish and
Sure.
Because nobody in the normal mind that gets
could do that. Living to happen for you. Stress, don't you think was stressy? Say it's a stressy say, I don't know. I'm gonna stress. Mo.
I know, man. You can't even blame it on stress.
Last he, ona le ntwana la ka sigarane. Lo re ngohlabile ka magriza high.
Oh,
yeah, hlabile magriza high, magriza ICU, and then I took our tele uncle ke di o. Akwalo
le ona ntwana.
E khang ga tse.
Le ona mfani.
Mabo. So ke ntse rapperetse ntse wa tse evaluate la mpethu. Ska so buila pe substance abuse. That thing say we must preach about it because I think re faced epidemic like no ka si ke mathata mfethu ke mawaza hora kae ho etsala eng mare kgetho ke a mocha tlamere itukise mafethu ba jale se retsa dintho tse extreme re dithela re le ka hare mfethu mabo so ai mona ke mathata on a more lighter note as I've mentioned Boitumelo Hotman Terence yeah next to buyer so for Mtweloring how to Hotman you play the alto. You're also into property, and more surprisingly, you are a teacher. Yeah. So, roll out. Who is Terence Maduna? Like basics.
Terence, basically, I grew up here in the Val.
Okay.
Kiplomaka Sivele, and studied B8. Before then, was into engineering, producing different kinds of properties, multi-lads, single-lads, tapping and then.
Okay.
Yeah, and then after that, then I started doing my own thing. It was in 2020. I bought my first property, and then I rented it out like as a student accommodation. And then last year I bought. It's last year. Last year I bought my second property, and then the student accommodation. I wanted to revamp it. Then I broke it down, and then I extended from like it was a 3-bedroom. Now it's a 10-bedroom.
10-bedroom.
Yeah. Being in that space, indeed, like you deal with like a lot of students complaining.
Yeah.
But it gives you that edge in J, especially like when you've got ladies, because they're the ones I could say that are most problem. Guys don't have they don't complain. Ladies, man, they want everything speak span. They want everything speak and span. So if you really want to grow into the business, they keep you on the edge, like things to fix. And the nice thing is that they having ladies as tenants now, it keep our value up or patia. You don't have much to fix at the end here. You have less damages and stuff. They clean up mess rather than gems. So they're very good at maintaining the value of the property. That's the upside. Yeah, but the downside is that they'll keep you any slightest inconvenience. Yeah.
When it's a property, we do stokvel.
Yeah.
Stokvel is how did it come about?
Well, it's a friend of mine from KZA. We've been following each other, as B8 students. And then I saw like this other guy, Ogajini, we became really good friends. It's like, oh, okay, no, G was saying, no, this guy, no, I shadow him. He was doing B8 and then he was into construction, something. So he was showing this guy, Mhleka's Ndix. And then I saw the post there, and then they were mainly on Instagram, building houses. And I saw they were working with like quite like affluent people, like especially like soccer. Okay.
Affluent time now.
Yeah. And then they had like major projects like medical facility and stuff. Like, okay. And then they introduced the youth property stock firm. And I was like, you know what? Let me just join this. I did like a background check.
Minimum amount to enter, how much was it?
Back then it was 300 rand.
Back then?
300?
Yeah. No, you were 4.K.
No, it's minimum, it's 6, I think.
6K?
No, 600 per month.
Like, what's that? Just break it down for me, Godman. How does Ispanajwang, like, no, maybe say, I get 60 per unit, and then stock fail can understand, or maybe say stock failing, for example, this property.
Yes.
And 600. Do I own a share? 600 thing, it's equivalent to whatever. Minimum 600.
Yeah.
I can put more than that.
You can put
more than that.
Yeah.
So I can say Stina 2, like the shares that's Stina 2.
Yeah.
So I mean, property have.
Yeah.
There are a certain amount rather but we don't have there. Maybe say be about 10 property in
Yeah.
so how is that how it goes?
Yeah. So it basically works like this. So let's say you contributing like 1.2 or 1.5 or 2,000 per month, and we deciding, okay, we gonna run this investment for 4 years. You do it for 3 years. You know, for 3 years we contributing like 2,000 rand, and then in that 3 years we buy 4 properties and maybe 2 off plan. Off plan properties are cheap.
So is it per month?
Yeah.
Okay.
You contributed per month for 3 years. Let's say that's what 2,000, 12,000 per year. Per year, right?
Oh,
yeah.
24.
It's 24.
Yeah, 2K gun.
Yeah, 24,000, and then it's what? It's 70. Let's say it's 80,000 in 3 years. That 80,000 that we would have contributed. Okay, let's say I don't contribute to the 100,000. I'm just making an example, and we're not contributing to the 80,000. So the share, we look at the valuation of the your entire portfolio. So if you contribute to the 100,000, that means you own 80% of that entire portfolio. So you get to, if we decide to sell, you keep 80% of the profits.
Makes sense.
If we say no, we want to rent them out, because what we did is that back then we bought like quite a few properties, especially in Barito and stuff. So if you want to, let's say if we say now we're renting them out, then you get to keep 80% of the profits that we generate the month
From the rent.
Yes. So that's how it works. So you choose whether you want to withdraw your investment or you want to convert it. Now say that, okay, no, I want profits of Yeah, some people are like, okay, now 80,000, I'm not going to do with anything with 80,000. But in 4 or 5 years down the line, if keeper, I'll still be getting maybe 2.5 a month from rental yard, because it's properties they blah and the high income there. So yeah,
Skal property o khono pula apa fela motlo go bala hi fandage
you get a discount.
You get a discount so wa patala wena. So it's a business ya ha.
Yes, you get a discount.
Okay.
Yeah.
So take us through taba ya Alto. I don't know, was it church related? I understand the property is deep. I think we're gonna go much deeper into that because property So but I wanna know total buyers in music Alto.
I basically from like I grew up in church. I was working in church back then. Used to clean the church and stuff and security. So most of the time I had time with these instruments, I was there at church, like I spent most of my week at church. So I was exposed, How I practice, I was saying I'm there. And then when there's a different group, youth practice, I'm there, So obviously you be like, okay, let me try this out, let me try this out. And you try, I started like fooling around with keys and stuff. And, it was a good challenge for me. Like it was, challenge you invite down, you wanna explore this instrument. So then I started practicing, looking up videos and stuff, you know, and I played for the band. I started like you know, playing with no, Koinonia, yeah.
Oh, Koinonia. Oh, like a Christian church.
Yeah, it's a Christian
Oh,
church.
swag.
Yeah, and then I was playing like with like when someone wants to sing at a wedding, like I go and take them up and stuff. You know? But I really blossomed when I started playing sax, because that's when I would get my own gigs now.
Oh, yeah.
And then I get to work with different producers. Like you know, so yeah, there's a lot, because there isn't that end, especially like when you're playing with DJs in that house secular, you know, music. There isn't that, because like a lot of people, like I've met like a lot of really talented people who went to music school. I never went to. I don't know how to read score and stuff. Like everything I learned for myself. They don't want to tap into that space. And those gigs, man,
so would you say like music is it coming from a more spiritual, like whatever? Because no, I was gay. All who read him know too. My better. Why you can train our kids?
Yeah.
So
well, I could say that, you know, I could say that from a Christian perspective. I'm a Christian, you know.
Yeah.
I could say that, you know, it's one talent that God gave me, and fortunately I was in that space where, you know, that talent could, you know. And the reason why I say this is because when I started playing keys, there was like maybe 2-3 people who were practicing with me. They didn't understand it. Even when I started playing the set, there was like 4 or 5 of us, and then they're like, okay, no, there's the brass section from the trombone, alto sax, tenor sax, soprano, and like, no, use the instrument that you wanna play. There was 3 of us, saxophone, and there's 2 gents who were playing. The other one was playing, what's this? Ooh, I forgot. A trumpet.
Okay.
A trumpet. And then the other one, yes, the other one was playing like a flagon horn. Yes. So all of them quit, you know, they quit, like, they didn't need talent, you know, they didn't need. But I found it very, very simple. So hence I was like, maybe this is a talent, and fortunately enough, I was in that space in J-Way that it would blossom, and yeah.
My entrepreneurial simple due to dedication. You spend a lot of time church.
Yeah.
Music about the man.
Yeah. So that's that.
Yeah. And then Gela, do you still have something to shoot, boy, before I shoot my question? Gela, you can understand that to think like how should back class it are like subjects you were teaching, to be specific.
Basically life sciences, and then there was like a bit of like guidance, you know, guidance in the sort of like, you know, when they call in the church like, man, we have this problematic, we need you guys to come and offer.
Hello, were you doing something before they got to notice, or Daimani could be the perfect candidate for this position or whatever?
Yeah, I was studying engineering.
Yeah. We would have.
No, I wasn't.
You offered yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
From there, I had a conversation with the principal. I was like, oh man, you're very good at this. You know, you should consider doing like teaching and stuff. And by then, in Elentwani, I had just gotten like a learnership.
Okay.
Thing, and I was like, man, this is not me. Welding, I don't see myself doing.
Also, so mechanically.
Yes.
Okay.
So I don't see myself doing welding. So there and then I decided, you know what, I need to register. I need to find register and do this. You know, because it was that day. I asked myself, do you see yourself doing this, waking up like this for the next 20 years? You know, and the answer was a no, resounding no. Nah. Like that's the thing, you know. People think people think I'm smart and stuff. I wasn't. I was fairly good, you know. I was fairly good. If you could look at my academic record, like it's, I had like average marks. You know,
Sure.
average marks. You know,
15 years, 60 more later.
Yeah. Most of my, you know, leaps in my career life, you know, they came from being bold and taking chances.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, like me buying property. There's people who were like, okay, you know, we're gonna invest in property, and I was like, you know what, I'm going there. I took a taxi. I went to Riverbend. I called around. I called agents. Hey, look, I want to invest in property and stuff. We met, and you know, it came from doing. Not it wasn't like, I wouldn't say it came from me being smart. You know, it came from me being bold. You know, playing the sax came from me being bold to try things out.
I'm pretty sure, no, like in the property space, when I step by as a long lane, when I property still in whatever, for investor, you know, you're looking at 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Yeah.
So is there anything when I fell out if I want to buy property,
Yeah.
check out for 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Yeah, it depends on what you want to do. You know, buying a flat now, it's the worst thing that you could do. You know,
Sure.
Like for yourself or for
if you want to invest. If you want to invest.
Okay,
if you
yeah.
want to invest, because here's the thing: if you're gonna finance, if the bank is gonna finance it 100%, then you're gonna have a shortfall on your end. And the thing about property is that you only make money after like 5 years, 6, 8 years. That's when you start being cash flow positive, not making money, getting cash flow positive about 500 rand, 600 rand.
Cash flow positive.
So, but let's say now you're buying a 500,000 property. Let's say it's a flat, it's a 2-bedroom flat or 1-bedroom flat. Bank gives you financing 500,000. So you're gonna pay maybe 4.5, 4.8 with interest rate, and then you still have to pay rates and taxes.
Sure.
Still have to pay rates and taxes. You still have to, depending on or guy and negotiate you still have to pay for water, and they pay for electricity, or they pay for electricity. And so if they're paying 5,000 rand, that means 5,000 area banking or salaga 300. The rates and taxes, if it's 1.2, 1.3 thousand, it's always. So you're short for 1,000 every month for the next 5 years. So you want to look at multi-lets. Multi-lets are safest way to hedge against, you know, you using your own money, because a multi-let you can get like Nklaboma 500,000 bookie, you know, and then you can rent it to young professionals, maybe even a student teacher, as teacher assistant, you find 4 or 5 of those guys, give them a room, like a communal space, for 2,000 rand. If you room 5, it's 10K. So minus 1,000 because they have to put 1,000 into business. You have, if you're making 10K, that means you have roughly 4.5 off the bat. So location is very important, and the type or how you set up your event. You know, like multi-lets are. Hence, I started with a student accommodation, because now I can afford. I'm making high returns. I can afford to go to the bank and say, hey, look, this is how much money I'm making. I want to buy a second property.
Oh my God, that's all smart, right?
That's what I did. And me extending the piece was adding value. Adding value to. I bought the property.
Would you consider though selling one of your properties?
Nah, like, you in property, especially like in South Africa, like market how yieldy especially like from like an investor perspective. So you make money by holding. And you make money by buying.
Okay. Please guided through like the whole process. Buying. Rent to buy. Like, how do you rent to buy? And learn about fighting. How does it go about, like, rent to buy?
I wouldn't advise anyone to buy. You know, it's because property. If you rent to buy, then you bring into a shaky do, you know, because here's the thing, for when you buying a property transaction, I think it doesn't involve like a conveyancer, lawyers, you know, conveyancer. If I'm buying a property from you, you give them the money, they make sure that the property belongs to me, and then they collect everything that needs to be collected.
Sort of like the middleman, but
yes.
the mediate.
Certificates electricity, Maspala, and they make sure that all those things are in check. Chelteta conveyance, the conveyancer, and then when everything is in check from both sides, obviously from you, if you are the buyer, you just need like go to the bank to say that okay, here's the money, we're giving you financing, here's the money. But from the first perspective, the conveyancer needs to make sure that thing is in check. And then when everything is in check, I give you the property with everything, the bills are maspala zero, compliant and all that, and then give the seller challenge, and then that's it. Now, what makes the whole thing buy to sell it's that now, if you are buying to sell, I'm giving you a property, and then you know, there's like a whole lot of things, you know, and yeah, you say, look, you are buying this property, buy to rent. You are buying this property. How much of, let's say you 5,000. How much of that 5,000 goes to the renting? How much to the capital? Yes, capital amount. Right. You see those fine lines, and you find that people, because of the way people structure those deals, like as agents are not as explicit about the, you know, because if I am selling you the property, but on a rent to sell basis, I'd want maybe 2.5 because get rent a rent, sure. Get rent a rent, and then rent a maybe 5,000. So I get that from renting. Get a new whether you buying or not, whether you buy. So I'd want to make sure that majority of that amount that you're paying goes to the rental side, and then minimum amount goes to the buying side. But for you, when you look at it as an investor perspective, alright, 5,000, 4.5 rent. You're not gonna agree to that deal. So you don't disclose those things. Or no, 500 rand goes to the capital. 4.5 you renting. You know, it's in the fine print. It's in the fine print. Yeah.
So normally, like time span, I think say guys, it's 72 months or more.
It's more than a bond. Okay. Because yes, like a perspective that I'm giving you, if you buy a bond, the property is yours. Yeah. The property is yours. Yes, we know you're paying twice the amount and in interest and stuff. Yeah. But we know that the property is registered in your name. Sure. No. But what's tricky here is that now closing your rent to buy. When I capital away patalang to what's the purchase, the capital. When I party rent or rent. You see, so that's what makes it tricky.
Good to get double payment.
Yes.
So to put it.
Yes.
Okay.
You know, because as it's my property, I still haven't gotten full value at it. So okay, so 500 because if 500, let's say maybe property for 5 years, property yet maybe 100,000. In 5 years, property tabe yet let's say maybe 190. When in 5 years, already property 190, 100,000. So you lose it from an investor's perspective. I lost 90,000 rand. So hence I need to factor in rent. Or I still need to make money off this. Yes. Because it's still my property.
Still your property,
But then again, it's your property because now you pay.
How na instance you hand over the deed, title deed, so to put it whatever once you done paying.
When you done paying, you can't. It can't be your property if you're not done paying for it.
Sure.
Hence, I'm saying like rent to sell deals like the
and the rent on its own, like for so would you rent the house?
Rent, I'd advise people to rent.
How many laws over like over time?
Look, if property, man, you have to know your goals. You have to know your goals. And look, if you don't want to be tied up, let's say maybe Obloma Josie, you IT or tech space, obviously you move a lot. You get like a job in Pretoria, maybe work for a bank, then move you to like maybe Blom and stuff. You don't want to be paying Bondia 10,000 centi, you know?
Hospital now.
Yes. Because you move around a lot.
Yeah.
Yes, you own the party, maybe you might rent it out, but you don't want to be tied. You have 10, you have to find now tenants, you want that flexibility. If I want to move, I move now. You know? That renting allows you that freedom, that whatever decision you want to make, let's say COVID happened, they cut you, then how does sa bond to come you know? So renting it's a safe space. And then if you buy and then you want to buy for yourself, you know, are you gonna move? You have to consider those things. Are you gonna move? Or you wanna value for the next 10 to 15 years? You know? Yes. If those questions you answer yes, then you can buy, and then because you're taking on a major financial commitment, you know. But from an investor's perspective, you know, you want you want to buy, then buying it makes sense, and living long term, you know. But if you're not sure, you just started working, you want to rent, because here's the thing: if you rent a property 100,000 ka bank, and then utopatala maybe 210,000 over 20 years. So Tobafa twice the amount. So you're still making a loss. So if you patala rent 10,000 on a property 1 million, and then bank out to patala 2.1 million, and then you renting for slave, that's 120,000. 120,000 compared to a show 1.2 million. Not if I'm bank so. What you see the downside. You'd rather give 120,000, and that's the math that people don't want to make. You know, you buying a car, inspector if you charge 500 to for inspector, and you like, oh okay, 500 2,000, like 2,000, I can't do 2,000. So but if you're buying a shitty car that you got it from a dealership car, 300,000, maybe it's a GTI, and then you offer problem down the line, got table to about 160,000. You must consider paying 160,000 to 2,000 to spend. Yes, we don't have 2,000 as Katola Paul, so you might think, in 2,000, but you must look at the opportunity cost. People fail to do that math when they're investing or when they're dealing with money. We use like a lot of emotions.
More than being
yeah, exactly.
Sheesh.
Getting a lot from you. Let's go back to education. Let's go back to education. System education system comparing to to know education system or is it getting bad?
I want to speak about two things. You know, education, you know, because like the world is improving, you know, kids now, you know, feeding scheme in a recipe, maybe not about at least, you know, like we could say like things have improved, you know, in that perspective, in a sociological perspective, you know. But curriculum wise, man, like we getting there, still getting like pools of specializations, you know, where like there's an engineering school, there's you know,
like from a primary level, secondary or tertiary level.
Secondary. You get like a school that specializes in engineering, aeronautics, like building cars and stuff. We just getting there, you know. But ethos. I'm talking about like school, school. That is on a decline. That has been on a decline. I mean, like, probably what? Or not how
the worst thing that
yes, negative one of it. It's
the worst.
Yes, but now it's a yeah. I'm gonna give it.
What's that? When I'm too much, I don't know. I get me crisis over in Ricarayon. Yabum Tlakasi limit, Timare. maybe say about 11. Can I want to see do DJ high like from school? So wait a lot. Like what the fuck? Go to the school and then go. Yeah, it's been going on.
Yeah.
So for quite a minute. You gonna need Kuala Fan Dak, yeah?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, never quite.
That's the time in Slimon say, I'm gonna actually be like a full week, but I be the school like for a week.
Sure.
Yeah.
Lekana compete, but yeah.
Dog. I haven't seen that. Hence school boards are like, is it still the same?
It's not, man. We have a lot of problems, you know. We have a lot of problems, and we far into the problem now for us to be talking no school one system every day, you know. It's every day.
Okay.
If a pipe liga or Kenya plaster instead of Kenya concrete or moldy so the notes the menuang in then SPCA eventually will we want to regulate but let's find a way to manage. We find the problem for you to be regulating more. The problem is not this. The problem is that I had like I had a leakage. You know, that's where we are right now. Education for us to be saying no, it's the teacher, no, it's the student. You know, it goes back to culture. You know, a lot of I teach in primary school, you know, and I put this on Facebook yesterday that bana ba the family tree. Bontate aba.
I saw that. Yeah.
Bontate aba and one of the family. How much of a family you know? Yeah, and you look at such things. People don't like you know, send that challenge, you know, but yeah, you're not being a father, and you are naive because you don't know the effects that was covered for one how you know,
psychological effect
young girls, you know, and it's well documented, you know, by evolutionary scientists, psychologists, you know, clinicians, young girls who don't have father figures, you know, but into puberty at an earlier age, they become promiscuous at an earlier age because they learn to identify that, you know, boyfriend like a father figure came trusting reliable. So I have to make the most out of this person whoever I have to make the most out of and a kalaka boyfriend, you know. Yeah, you know, they exploit whoever is in that role because they know that this person is not reliable, you know. They're not gonna be here for long. You know, such things. Young boys, we're talking about aggression right now. You know, it's a problem that has been building up. You know, my it's been building up. It's confusion. It's aggression. Males aggressive. You know, you need to channel that aggression somewhere else. You know, you need to be educated. You need to play sports. Yes. You don't do those things. But as a guy who's got testosterone. And you know that between the ages of 17 and 25, like it shoots up. Where do you take the aggression? Where do you channel it? You know? Yeah.
That's where
exactly. You hash it out, bolo. But now, how do you hash out? You know? People don't understand how hunger motivates you to do certain things. Simple thing as hunger. But bashabana.
And hunger like
literally.
Drive,
yeah. No teacher who we take so tataki no I can't get teacher. You know? Because young boys were never taught to channel that aggression into the right things. You know, father figures, but back to keep young boys in check are not there, you know, and these things build up and because if you start about we fall into the problem to be blaming young boys for link up or no the drugs so hence I'm saying it's a whole lot of things affecting Banaba school education, the ethos. And we need to have a broader perspective. Okay, how each and everything affected, played a role in China. Single mothers also do that, you know. And then I have a learner, you know, fortunately I can't mention names and stuff, you know, but you know, I know of a learner now who's pregnant, and how to learn about the family dynamics. Now you'd see that
like
yeah. You know, and the guy is my age. So when you follow the story, now you see in a tapandang, and then she got unlucky. Yes, she got unlucky.
Oh, that's
Mari, am high school like primary? Primary.
Exactly, like.
Primary
High school is something else. Primary
so, Kieran Twin, I have a fit. That didn't say high categories, diamond is pedophile. Scarpo no bona made primary.
Yeah.
He is.
Fuck.
Because can't be.
You can't go one as primary.
Exactly. It's you look at such surroundings and you look at like Bapilang. And then you can see the culture plays like a very important role in how young girls perceive themselves. You know, they are very hypergamous. Hypergamous that I believe I need to marry someone who's wealthy, who's gonna take care of me. You know, more society is poor. Hypergamy very high. You know, and the downside is that now migration is also very high because you get all the young girls line up to you. You'd find that where there's inequality, hypergamy is high, and then there's high male aggression. Like young boys violent, but where now like socio-economical people are equal. You know, there is hypergamy. We want to about the cheese, but haona class, haona charity, latang man, so you in such societies now, that's where you find that now young girls like they pimp them.
So would you say it's still dating you like what when I tell you now waiting like from Kakum I'm telling to you
it's even though they don't say it explicitly, you know, but it's that thing of okay, we can't afford you. So I can't say scajola, but but I'm gonna let you be, since like you getting something Air Force, then parents like, oh, at least you're getting something from your boyfriend. They getting it.
And on the flip side, surprisingly, I saw this other video on TikTok. So pretty much paper bag or plastic bag, chicken licky.
Yeah.
Maguzo since I'm so chicken licky when we afford a chicken licky because I was bad.
Yeah.
Understand? So on the flip side, I'll share about on the contrary, like Batobambona. So what does it say about you as a parent even?
Exactly, it's those things, man. But like I'm saying, you have to look at like a broader picture. You can't just be blaming young girls or blame Mama Jita
because bank advantage somehow.
Everyone look. What's teacher, you know, teacher, teacher. I mean, like, yes, as a teacher, you should have known better.
Sure,
you know?
sure.
But Mwano, I'm super as I'm super as true. We have honest conversations, you know. Listen, if for instance, when I grade 12 for now, you know, when I grade 12 for now, 17, 18, 19, but I grade 12, especially like in poor societies, they will point blank tell you that I get closure that chaka. I get closure that chaka. Ongwana, you know. And we know because it was Colon Renal to and it's sad when they grow up and see the mistakes now that they've done now, and they doing they're good. They want to well, it's a good thing to conscientize. I've been that road, but truth of the matter is that and the unfortunate part is that then it falls on you. But if we were just look at the facts, say that some of these I know from myself, some of these young girls that still doesn't justify it. But I'm just giving you a picture of it. Innocent. Yes, you should have known better, but high innocent.
Maybe uniform like speaking of innocence, so keep an abasgela. Umutu akasplit eye contact in Naso, man. So how recognize it as like adult eye contact highway na so libona I think only mobile kabate anyani fe
can't even blame it on but from both sides.
Even let's get them food no sharpen to 2 centimeter when I'm downtown
and such things, you know, women will say, look, I'm free to wear whatever I want and stuff. You know, there's these things they never that simple. They never that simple. You know, when especially like in women dynamics, it's never like black and white. Mwana skolo hata wena agamana watibaki emana na namana ukisi ngutisi. Because those are the remarks that they store with you. Those are the remarks that they store with you. You know, a typical guy I am instructing outland guiding you. I go hamela wana school. Why would you go to way now? And how can you are in Quenaba? So, I'm sure. Lead Prata high demanity response. When out to him. How can he jump like Tabasque? It's you have to consider such instances that men how it's
you're supposed to fight back.
Women will play men's games and they'll be applauded for that. But if men play women's games, then they're puss. You know? You have to consider such dynamics. There isn't like a symmetry, which is a contributing factor. Which is a contributing factor. There isn't a symmetry. Majita I regret a chance during sex. I regret a chance to the cherry in general, but I regret a chance to so there isn't symmetry. So how to obviously, I regret a sex. Replacing better is a when I regret a more Hawaja unja. So you have to look at such dynamics when you're talking about these things and have like a broader perspective. That's what I always encourage people to do. Have like a broader perspective and have a dialogue. You know, have like argument. It's in strike, but make your point and make me understand your point. Let me make my point and understand my point. Let us explore different views and come to an understanding. Okay, kiss 6 and 9. It depends where you're looking at it from.
So before we close, I just want about Bala and then how it played a role into your life and what are you currently reading now?
I when I first got into reading, like I liked a lot of finance books. I started reading Rich Dad Poor Dad. you know, but it's I wouldn't put it like my top my top 3 or top 5 financial books that have made like like had like an impact in my life. It has to be Thou Shalt Prosper by this other guy, Daniel Lapin. He's a Jew. He's a Jewish rabbi, you know, and yeah, that's one person. It's one thing that I teach people when I do these talks, when I talk about value, is that he says, look, when you're an entrepreneur or a business, and you have to think in terms of value creation. You know, Steve Jobs is, you know, like Steve Jobs and like Jeff Bezos, they are the most impactful people when they're thinking about value creation. Value, the exchange of value. You know, Steve Jobs is one person who could say to you, look, who you could say to him, 40,000 iPhone, 40,000 iPhone, useless. 40,000 for iPhone. You know, you have to think as an entrepreneur. You have to think like that. How do I get this person to say 10 rand is useless? This thing that you have, people do that all the time. Terence Kingsley does that. Or 12 rand, 10 rand Kingsley, useless. Life at Hana Ferry Kingsley, and they actually go and do that. Bansa 10 rand Kingsley, and they're happy, they're better off. Otherwise, you wouldn't do that. Okay, Sereki, Kuku in 100 rand, because you don't perceive it to be that much valuable. That's the nice thing about capitalism. You can decide, it's your money. If 100 rand I have to go for Kuku out there, but Kuku because Filori 100 rand out there, you know what, 100 rand is useless. You know, the market sets the price and everyone is happy in the transaction. You know, that's one person who played like an impact in my Daniel Lapin, Peter Thiel, 0 to 1. Lena, he talks about like being innovative as an entrepreneur. How do you penetrate markets, spaces? How do you find a market, or how do you know that your product doesn't have a market? Type of thing, you know. Peter Thiel, 0 to 1. Who's this? Marcus Morgan Hansel, The Psychology of Money. Like he's very deep. What I like from the quote from his book is that he says, look, a lot of people think being a millionaire is about spending like $1 million rands, but actually being a millionaire, it's keeping $1 million. If on a million and you recall a millionaire, how not next, I'm the millionaire. When are you no longer the millionaire? And he highlights one important thing that I learned from trading is that making money requires you to be selfless. You know, you have to risk it all. Like, but keeping money, when you have money, you have to be selfish. You know. And you see this car, but rich by diversity because they have something to lose. But when they invest, they don't thinking, how much money am I gonna make? They already have money. They trying to mitigate losses. They calculating how much money will I lose. So they want to lose less as possible. When you don't have money, if you make a product in a rich people don't think like that. They're thinking, if I invest in this business, how much am I going to lose? You know, so making money and keeping money requires two different mindsets. Making money, you have to be selfless, you have to be out there, you have to be able to risk. But keeping money, you have to avert risks. You have to be selfish. You want to keep your money. You know, so yeah, I say those are my top 3 finance books. Other than that, I like reading like psychology. I'm a big fan of Jordan Peterson. Read 12 Rules for Life, 12 More Rules, Beyond Chaos. He's a very good author. He's a very good speaker. Check him out on YouTube. Who else? Like social sciences books. Recently, I've read David Buss. David Buss is an evolutionary psychologist. Basically, gets into the science of mating, why women prefer men who have money, why men ba re batla re choose dipaola le bana ba banyane le bona, like maybe o tla bo jola ngwana mo fetang ka bo 2-3 years. He basically gets into the gist of that, or this is how you. And then in Sapiens, the author of Sapiens, I'm reading Sapiens right now. I like his book. He's historian. He's very good at like giving you a broader perspective of how we came about here, you know. And one important thing that I like he highlighted, it's us moving from hunter-gatherers to farming, you know.
Sure.
Says, look, hunter-gatherers, you know, they were healthy people. It's people because but still you know, he had like a very good diet, you know. He had a very good diet. So he could get like all the nutrients at a go. But it didn't make sense for them to transition from that to farming. But and then farming, like people to be crowded and stuff. People now died from disease, and we know this because I read a book. What's this? Factfulness by Hans Rosling. Like, but especially like when farming started, farming revolution. Because now where people gathered, there were a lot of diseases and infestation and stuff. So he said from an historian perspective and an evolutionary perspective, it doesn't make sense that people would leave hunter gathering and go for farming because they died in millions. You know, they didn't have much choice of food. So you can't now and then go for pony, go for ditapu. It didn't make sense. He says, but now people think farming it's this revolutionary thing that happened to human beings. You know? But he says, in actual fact, it's not. You know, we did not invent farming. Farming now became acculturated to us. You know, he makes very interesting points. Yeah, from like a historian perspective. You know, and you get like perspective of okay, this is why now people died because this is why but because now they had to hedge against that, you know. The social services back then, you know, farming like made people's lives hard, you know, because now if you produced maize at like you must produce it, you have to protect it, you know, you have to have security and stuff. So so hence now the institution of marriage, where now patriarchy now became now vast and but now back then you had to work, you know. Marriage wasn't a love thing, no, it was a political thing. If Jesu killing nam shemani fela and then when I was shemani him fuck her if she loves him, because protect so it was marriage was that, you know. So you get perspective and people have this no, but never anything better. Life didn't allow them. If you because you needed those things. Hence that they had and all those things. Social services you had to get, like the economic unit was all those things you know. So you get to have that perspective. This is how life was back then. So basadi never sna chance of it. Nakita divorce. How to wash? But how to survive? How to so our abuser, the people marry for love back then. It was for survival, purely that. It was purely that. It was a survival. Marriage was a survival thing, and not your survival, but survival your household. Yeah, that's why they politicized it. It wasn't your choice. Yeah, it wasn't your choice as a gent. It wasn't your choice as a woman. Your family had to decide. Yeah.
Yo, shout out.
Yeah, shout out.
Yo,
it's been a dope one.
Yeah. Is there any advice about anything you want to say to the masses before we close?
Yeah, man. Read. You know, social media has this thing, people have, they bombard you with information, advices and stuff, man. Like, I'm one person who speaks strongly at taking social media advice, especially like life yam to abuang, it doesn't goals like life read, be informed, reading gives you like a broader perspective, and once you read, you get to understand that life is complex. There is no black and white answer to anything. You can't say capitalist is good, social is bad, colonialism was bad, we need to deconstruct. I mean, like, we live under legacy of colonialism right now. If you want to get rid of that, once you read, you get to make an argument for whatever little bit that you make, but you can't now have a black and white on almost anything. It depends on context, on what you're asking, on what your argument is about, and you learn to be open-minded, man. You learn to be open-minded, especially like me as a Christian, because Christians, like, we have that belief that but get to sit down with people, listen, learn. There's a lot to learn. People, there's smart people out there.
You cannot stop learning. Learn until bolo bored.
Exactly.
Sure.
Exactly. So that's my advice. Read.
Yeah.
Even if it's a discount receipt.
Dog. And then shout-outs, maybe check out Notletse social media to follow, or maybe just to like some of the things that you share or some of the things that you say. On socials.
Facebook, like I post a lot of stuff on Facebook. Yeah, I post like a lot of stuff on Facebook. I run like reading for growth content. Like I post like